Yo, bro, you thinking about drinking? Or should I say, are you thinking about not drinking? It's kind of the same question. And there's no real right answer. That choice is completely up to you. But if you want to sit with some of the questions that might be swirling around in your mind, you can ask yourself a few more questions to maybe help you work through the process if you're really not sure what direction to turn or what choice to make. And one of the things that was helpful for me was I remember looking back on it and at times when I would have this little voice inside. You can call it conscience or intuition, or there's just this nagging little voice inside of me that was very subtle at first, but I could kind of feel like I knew that I couldn't keep going in this direction. And that voice got louder and louder, little by little, over the course of a long time. But there were also things that happened in my world that made it clear to me that I couldn't continue to pour this poison down my throat and live the quality or type of life that I knew I wanted to live and experience the kind of health and vitality and live up to the potential that I wanted to experience. And so I don't know what's going on in your world, but maybe some people have been telling you that there's something up with you. Maybe somebody you love and trust, somebody you care about deeply has come to you and they're honest with you about your drinking being problematic. Maybe your girl or your wife is telling you she's had enough and that if this keeps up, she's out. Maybe it's breakup, maybe it's divorce, maybe it's threatening not to see your kids anymore. Maybe you're showing up to work late, or you're just not doing as well at work, or maybe you're not showing up and you're just completely missing a shift or a day. Who knows? Maybe you're just sick and tired of feeling sick and tired. That was a big one for me. I was just sick and tired of feeling like crap all the time. And other times, I remember just waking up, not knowing where my car was parked, or really how I got home, but I knew I drove. And that's like a horrible feeling, to know that you potentially could have killed yourself or someone else, or anyway, I don't even like to think about some of the stuff that I could have done when I was just so boxed and inebriated that I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't make the decisions. And maybe your health is failing. Maybe you went to the doctor and he told you something about, your pancreas or your liver, or it's just spiraling out into other unhealthy habits where you're just overweight, out of shape, you're not sleeping right, you're not feeling good about who you are, because fundamentally this poison is just kind of like seeped into every pore of your body. And I remember my wife at one point years ago telling me, you keep healthy, you hydrate, you take multivitamins, you exercise Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you come around like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, this weekend warrior, and you just undo all that good stuff you did and you just wreck yourself. And she was right. I was destroying myself. And it's going to take different things for different people to wake up to the realization that they really need to check themselves and consider making different choices and consider making changes, and changes that are lasting, that they can change their lifestyle to not include the regular use of pouring a poison that is a neurotoxin that is essentially damaging every cell of your body. It's the only choice that needs to be made is a choice by you to want to make a change. How that change happens remains to be seen. But if you're feeling some of the things that I'm saying, if you're relating to some of the experiences, there's definitely a part of you that recognizes that a change needs to happen. And I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is that it's very easy. The bad news is it's extremely complex and also very difficult. And that might sound contradictory, but it's not. The easy part of it is all you need to do is stop picking up booze and pouring it down your throat. The hard part is that it's hard to see that there's a problem sometimes because it's everywhere. It's at every occasion we go to. The weddings, sporting events, concerts, hanging out with your buddies after work. Some people are drinking before, during, and after work. So how do you step away from something that's interwoven into every part of our social, personal, professional lives without feeling like there's something wrong with you? Well, I got news for you, bro. There's nothing wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you really considering the fact that you should not be pouring this powerful, highly addictive substance down your throat on a regular basis. We've all been tricked into thinking that this is completely socially acceptable and part of everything we do. It's like as American as apple pie. But that's a lie. And these companies spend billions of dollars trying to convince us that we should continue to poison ourselves. But God didn't create us with the need to have some magic elixir so that we can just relax or manage stress or to enjoy life or to celebrate occasions or to go on vacation and enjoy a trip or a sunset with loved ones. You don't need to pour some special liquid down our throat to enjoy those things. We can enjoy those things just as they are, with people we love and beautiful places and awesome experiences, sober and clear-minded, not bloated and not hungover and not jonesing for another cocktail. We can enjoy all of those things without having to poison ourselves. Here's the rub. And you might not really understand it at first, but just stick with me for this one. One of the things that you're going to have to do if you are serious about quitting drinking alcohol is you're going to have to recognize some of the systemic reasons why we drink alcohol. Because our drinking alcohol is really just a symptom. It's a symptom of us having feelings inside of us that we are very reluctant to confront, that we might even be afraid to feel, that we might have kept locked down deep inside, repressed, suppressed, maybe sometimes expressed, but expressed in unhealthy ways. For me, if I would feel things like sadness or grief, something bad happened in my life, I wouldn't actually feel sadness and cry or feel grief and loss. I would instead just get angry and I would lash out in different ways and point my finger outward and just want to like relieve myself of these uncomfortable feelings. But part of the reason that we drink is because we want to numb and distract ourselves from feeling feelings that are really uncomfortable. So if you're still with me right now, sit with it for a minute. Maybe just ask yourself for the first time in a while, what is it that I'm afraid to feel? What in my past has created a fear, a sadness, a grief, a loss, a mourning, a pain that we are afraid to sit with and confront? And as you do this, I ask that you just take a deep breath into your belly. And just take a few moments to just sit with maybe some of the reasons that we want to drink. If you're in that position right now where you're thinking about drinking, ask yourself, what part of your past is pushing the buttons? What part of your emotions is in the driver's seat and driving your behavior to want you to numb and eliminate that pain from being felt? And I know this sounds like it has nothing to do with drinking, but it has everything to do with drinking, bro. Everything. Because if we didn't feel this pain that's been pushed down and stuffed down and suppressed for so many years, we wouldn't feel a need to get so inebriated and so wrecked. For me, as a former firefighter in New York City, there were lots of things that I experienced at work that were horrific. And I was taught how to show up to help people that were facing their worst nightmare, but I was never taught how to deal with the stress and the chronic trauma that I was experiencing. I was never taught how to manage that or understand it. And so it would spill out over into the rest of my life, creating havoc. And instead of me confronting some of those feelings, I would just pour some booze on it and try to just numb it, because I didn't want to feel it. I didn't want to face some of the things I experienced or process those emotions. And so I would just repress it, suppress it, or pour booze on it. And that worked until it didn't. Because as you get older, your body doesn't tolerate this toxin that well. And the hangovers used to be just like a rough morning, or I could just continue on the next day, honestly, and just keep drinking. If I had a rough Friday, I would just get up sometime late on Saturday and just keep the party going. But as I got older, I couldn't do that. The hangovers and the havoc it was wreaking on my physical body, my nervous system, what it was doing was just leave me unprepared to handle and face any challenges in my life, because my system was wrecked. So I didn't have the tools and the skills necessary to face simple challenges. So I found myself being even more irritable and even more on edge, because I wasn't really grounded and healthy enough to handle some of the challenges. And so how do you think my work performance was? I didn't feel good about the type of work I was doing as a firefighter. I felt like I wanted to be stronger and more confident and capable. And here I was, banged up from the night before. And it wasn't safe for me, my kids, my family, my brothers that were depending upon me to be as good as I could be at my job. God, I'm saying this right now. I've never really admitted this before. It feels really crappy to even say that. I lacked being at my professional best, because I was spending way too much time just destroying my physical health. I wasn't at the top of my game, being the best version of myself personally and professionally. I'm still not there, but I will tell you now, without a doubt, almost 8-9 years later, quitting alcohol and cutting it out of my life was without a doubt one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. Hands down, no doubt about it. Was it easy? Yes, in some ways it was. In other ways it was difficult. And the difficult part is sometimes the social dynamic of who we hang out with and who our friends are, and maybe forging new pathways and new friendships and new connections with people who are more in alignment with certain values and lifestyles that you choose to explore. So look, you don't need to become a monk. I still go out. I still like to party. I still like to go to concerts and on vacation and sing karaoke and dance the hokey pokey. I don't want to be a dud. I still want to enjoy and celebrate life. I just don't poison myself in the process. So I'm making this video also because when I made the first couple of videos about alcohol, a lot of people reached out to me and they expressed that a lot of the things I was talking about was resonating with them. And so I'm going to continue to make these videos and drop some of the stories or experiences that I've had. And my hope is that if you can relate to some of the things I experienced and you see part of my journey, it'll make it easier for you to make better choices and know that on the other side of giving up heavy drinking after doing it for years, maybe decades, there's a whole new world, a beautiful life of health and well-being. And I promise you, it's worth it. You're going to have to struggle through and go through some uncomfortable scenarios. You're going to have to sit with the pain and discomfort of making a choice that is for your health and well-being. It may not be a popular choice that the people in your peer group will understand. And I would also just encourage you and invite you to sit with some of the feelings that you might have, some of the feelings that are uncomfortable to feel, some of the feelings that maybe as a child you were never taught to identify or understand or process or release. For me personally, I was never taught to identify the emotions of sadness or fear or insecurity or grief. And so as an adult, instead of expressing things that I thought would make me seem weak or less manly, like fear and sadness, I just would stuff it down, and it manifested itself as anger. And now I realize years later, I'm going to be 50 soon. At this age, I'm finally learning to identify the emotions that I feel in my body. I'm finally learning to honor the full spectrum of what it means to be a human being that has emotions, and learn to honor and express sadness when I lose somebody, grief when there's challenging times, fear when I'm uncertain of what's going to happen. And I am learning to be gentle and kind and compassionate and forgiving with myself so that I can experience and feel the emotions that are necessary to be felt, so I don't feel like I need to check out and numb out all the time. This is a process that has taken me years to really understand and refine. And I can look back on my experience and know that it wasn't easy. And so if you're going through a challenging time and you're struggling with thinking about drinking, thinking about not drinking, and you're having a tough time making a decision, you're not sure what the right decision is, you're not alone. I just want to remind you that there's a lot of other people that are going through this. When I first started releasing some videos on alcohol, my DMs started blowing up with people that were like thanking me for at least letting them feel that they weren't alone with their struggle. So I hope this video helps. Please share it with someone that you think might benefit from the message. And be sure to check back in. And if you want, drop something in the comments below. Share your experience about alcohol use, or what made you decide to quit, or what helped you on your journey. You see, we have this technology that people use to make TikTok videos and scroll all day. It's another addiction we have. But we can use this technology to connect and communicate with each other and to help guide each other on the pathways of life. So if you're going through a rough patch and you know you need to make a change, you're not alone. I'm going to make longer form videos. So if you're in a rough spot and you're struggling with those thoughts and your brain is on fire, you can download one of these videos, put in your headphones, get out for a walk, and listen, and know that you're not alone. Know that there's other people that are going through the same things you're going through, and that there's people that will love and support you. You can find your community of people that will love and accept you as you are. So if you need to cut some dead weight, change some of the people that you hang out with, find new people to connect with, drop back in here to Campfire, and we'll be talking about all things to keep ourselves healthy and whole, and keep our bodies and minds mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually strong and healthy. So stay tuned, and I hope to see you back here soon at Campfire. Hang in there, brother. I'm proud of you.